Some children may not be capable of getting in and out of the vehicle themselves, and the parents will have to place them in the vehicle. In that instance, it's probably best for everyone involved if the door functionality is removed from the car. It's just one less thing moving around that can be in people's way or create a pinch hazard. So if we've decided to keep the doors closed on the vehicle, we're going to want to secure them in place. And so you notice that there's a frame here that goes around the door, and then the door sits into it. And it's sort of up at this high point, and it's also down at this low point. And if you feel the door, it's got matching parts to it. So what you're going to want to do is use a shorter length, like an number 8 by 1 will certainly do the job, self-piercing lath screw. And so what you would do with this is find some spots around the perimeter of the door. The underside is going to be very easy to do. You just have somebody hold it up and drill the screws in from the bottom. So probably 2 there, and then at least 1 somewhere in this area. This one can be much more difficult to do because getting in behind the wheel to accomplish that can be a bit challenging. So maybe if you have someone with small hands on your team would be good. Also, it is a good idea to have some extensions for your drill on hand. And so we have just a long 12-inch straight extension here that you can add your drill bit to, so it might be a little bit easier to reach in behind that to get to where you want to be. And then we also have a somewhat fancy, somewhat flexible 6-inch extension, just depending on the nature of the vehicle, that it can be bent around so that you can drive the screws in. Once you have both of the doors secured, that's when you want to start looking at your support cage. And so the support cage in this situation, this is the typical configuration we've used. And again, this would be built to the specifications of the individual child. We've again used just regular Schedule 40 3/4-inch PVC pipe, some 90-degree elbows, and then we've used the self-tapping, self-threading plastic screws, number 8 by 3/8 inch. We drill a tap hole, and then we drill those in, and they cut threads into both the fitting and the pipe to secure that connection so it's nice and solid. At the back of the vehicle, we prefer to use machine screws or carriage bolts, 1.5 inch in length. And what we do is we mark the pipe, take it off the vehicle, drill our holes through it, and then we mark the holes on the car, drill the holes through the car, and then we would run our bolt through that hole into this back panel. And it's easy to reach underneath here so that you can use preferably a fender washer. These are just larger diameter washers, which means the nut that goes onto the bolt is pulling across a large area of plastic, making it harder to pull it out. In some cases, the fender washers won't work, and you need to just use regular washers. And then we recommend using stop nuts. Okay? And the benefit of the stop nut is that it's got a small nylon insert, so once it's tightened down, it's not going to vibrate loose. At the front of the vehicle, when we look at the bottom spot here, this one we can actually probably get to the back panel. So I'm actually reaching behind this, and I can feel that my thumb is sort of right behind the pipe there. And so what that tells me is that if I put a bolt through here, I'll actually be able to get the nut onto the back. As we get up here into the actual door, we might want to actually secure this to the door. Well, the door is a blind opening. There's no way we're going to be able to get inside this door to secure a bolt. So when you run into situations like that, you want to make sure that you again have some of these self-piercing lath screws on hand, but they need to be a longer length. 3/4-inch PVC pipe is almost 1.25 inches in diameter, so we have some 1.5-inch piercing lath screws that will be able to get through the PVC pipe and into the body sufficiently to give us a connection. For these, you're still going to have to drill a hole through the PVC pipe, but you wouldn't drill a hole in the body of the vehicle. The benefit to these is that they have this sharp pointed tip, so they're going to be able to hit this plastic and self-pierce it, drive in and give you a good connection. If these end up being your only connection somewhere, you want to make sure you use several of them because they're just not going to give you the same secure nature of fitting as you're going to get with a bolt, which is the preferred mounting approach.